if anything this year has taught me is that at any given moment, you can decide to shift timelines.
Welcome to Conversations with the Ancestors, where we connect to ancestral wisdom, cosmic insight, and healing rituals to redeem and liberate our souls. You're here because your higher self and your ancestors brought you here. So get your tea or coffee, take a breath, and settle in because, baby, this is for you.
What up, divine beings? Welcome to that podcast where we do ancestral work, personal healing, inner child work, cosmic connections, and more. As you know, I am your host, Robin Denise. You know, life has been lifing in a good way personally, but you know, globally, it's been lifing in a like, what the heck is happening kind of way. And so to help me stay sane, I do my best to pull in like the bliss that comes from living my life authentically. And one of the ways that I have been doing that has been doing some like celebrations, saying yes to main character energy, as I have on my main character shirt today and it says main character. I've really been leaning into that, and that has taken me a long time to get to in life, is to realize that I'm the main character of my story. And this weekend, I had the opportunity to go to Morgan State University's homecoming, which was lots and lots of fun. And while I was out there, the thing that struck me was the weather, okay? The weather for me has been crazy this year because, as you know, I am a nomad. I travel and I spend months at a time in different locations. If you didn't know, you know now. That's why I say I am your favorite globe-trotting guru and spiritual baddie. Ow. This weekend, it was this moment of, yo, we are really transitioned. We have hit fall. We ain't transitioning no more from summer to fall. We are in fall now. And I remember being in Australia earlier this year and experiencing this same shift from summer into fall in Australia. And so I found it so funny and appreciative that I get to experience summer into fall in two different times of the year, you know, being on different hemispheres allowed for that. And then I also experienced extended summer this year because I was in Thailand, which was summer, and then I went to Paris right after, and that was definitely summer. So I'm really grateful to have felt those shifts. I just haven't experienced spring yet this year. But who knows? We've got like 2 more months left in the year. Maybe somewhere in the world it's spring. I'll have to look that up and maybe I can go there. The beautiful thing about experiencing multiple seasons or the same seasonal transitions within a year is it reminded me, like I remember as I was reflecting on this, the ancestors were sharing that me seeing these transitions in 2 different locations is really a testament to the fact that we can decide to be in any season of our life. And I think about like what life is, how we transition. So many times I know I've spoken to people who feel like they're stuck in the same thing. Like, oh, it's always winter, fall, spring, summer. Oh, it's always go to work, drive to work, come home, eat, bed, you know? And if anything this year has taught me is that at any given moment, you can decide to shift timelines. You can decide to shift seasons. You can decide to shift and make a change in your life, because change is constantly happening. And instead of sometimes feeling like the change is happening to us, we can be the ones to orchestrate the change with intentionality. And that's what the reflection around the ancestors gave me around, you've experienced so much, both in temperature, both in vibration of land, in so many different ways, and the opportunity here for me and you is to remember that you, as the God being you are, have the opportunity, the option to say, I am outside of time. I am outside of season, and I can experience whatever seasons I want to experience when I want to experience it. And I know that may sound like wild and very like, oh, sure, Rob and Denise, you can say that. You travel the world. That's what you do, Like, I get that sentiment. Trust and believe I get that sentiment. But even if you couldn't travel to another place to experience a different temperature topically, maybe you can find ways to create that shift within your environment. There's a variety of different ways that you can activate feeling like you're in a different location. You can also go into a meditative state and allow your mind's imagination to transport you to the place that you want to be. And I know before I started this travel life that I've cultivated for myself, a lot of my time was imagining and professing where I wanted to be, how I wanted to be, what I wanted life to look like. It wasn't always Robert Denise can go here, and is an entrepreneur and runs their own business. It wasn't always that. A lot of my life has been a 9-to-5. I even worked for the government for a while. I've worked as an adjunct professor. I've done so many things. And so I want you to know that what you see, what you hear right now was not an overnight situation. It was months and years of me understanding what I needed to feel and do so that I could feel like I was thriving, so that I could feel like I was prospering, so that I could understand my purpose, live my purpose, and be authentic through that. Many times it was me visualizing what I wanted from my life. It was me making vision boards that said, I'm going to go to Thailand again. That said, all the places that I wanted to visit in a year's time. So I'm telling you these things because I've done them. And now I am in the 3D manifestation of what I put down on my vision board.
This is for you. This is for you.
Where in the world is Rob and Denise? Okay, I think I worked better this time than when I did it last time. Like, I kind of, anyways, yeah, I know the Carmen Sandiego situation. We talked about that a little while ago. So your favorite globetrotting guru and spiritual baddie is currently in Maryland. And as I mentioned, I was in Baltimore, Maryland, celebrating Morgan State University's homecoming, honey. When I tell you it was beautiful to walk through that campus and see all these African American, Black American, beautiful people walking, talking, dancing, singing, eating, living life in abundance, living life in their main character energy, baby. It brought me so much joy. Let's talk ancestry. The ancestor that we are uplifting and highlighting today is the spirit of the HBCU. And the spirit of the HBCU goes back to the mid 19th and early 20th centuries. HBCUs were erected to provide higher education for African Americans who were being denied access to predominantly white institutions. And wow, like I didn't even realize how important this topic is right now, as many of the institutions, the educational institutions in the US, the United States right now, are being attacked and threatened to be defunded and a whole host of things. If you are familiar with John Oliver, his show called Last Week Tonight that airs on HBO, I would encourage you to take a look at one of their most recent episodes, which talks about the university system and the attack on the education universities and institutes right now. But the attack is going very deep, and it's going deep into DEI, period. And being at a HBCU, Morgan State University, this weekend, feeling all of the love from the current students, the past students, and the energy and the energetics of the ancestors that had a hand in erecting this university. I felt all of that this weekend. And as we talk about the ancestor today, the HBCU spirit, and the HBCU spirit is the spirit of all of those ancestors who said, we need organizations for us, by us, because we aren't being accepted into the other organizations because they weren't for us and they're not by us. So let us erect these historically Black colleges and universities. The tenacity, the fervor, the dedication that goes into that is astronomical, and it's also inspiring. Like, I am inspired to show up today. I am inspired to stand in my main character energy, and I feel as though the spirit of the HBCUs said that's exactly what we wanted. That's exactly what we wanted from those who were to come from and after us, was to feel like they are inspired to do more, that they are given the support and the tools to excel. And that is what HBCUs do. I remember in high school, I totally was like, I'm going to Howard University. I'm going to DC, Howard University, here I come. And I ended up deciding to go a different route and went to a different college, University of California, Davis, which I love. Go Aggies, whoop whoop. I got school pride all day, every day. But I remember wanting to go to Howard University because I wanted to have the quote unquote Black experience. I wanted to feel ingrained in culture, that culture of mine. So even though I didn't go to Howard University, I've still had the opportunity to do work with them and connect with that community. I've guest lectured in some of the human sexuality classes there, and that's been a beautiful opportunity. I'm grateful that I've been adjacent to the HBCU experience through my line sisters, through other sorority sisters, and through these occasions of going to the homecoming or speaking at the universities. And so that feels really, really good. And as I talk more about HBCUs and the ancestral spirit of HBCUs, they were vital centers for activism and academic excellence within the Black community. And today there are over 100 HBCUs that continue to provide excellent education, scholarship, creativity, community empowerment to youth across the United States. Morgan State University, which is located in Baltimore, Maryland, was originally established by the Methodist Episcopal Church. Morgan State has a long history of being a cornerstone of excellence and innovation. It produces and has produced generations of leaders, educators, artists, social workers, etc., who have shaped history both locally in their community and nationally. Like, truly, from what I've seen this past weekend, Morgan State University lives up to its motto, which is growing the future, leading the world. So let us do our due diligence and call in the HBCU spirit, the ancestral spirit of the HBCUs, and asking them to be with us as we dig a little deeper into some more things in this episode. We haven't done one of these practices in a while, and so we're calling in a different type of ancestor today. Because, we've talked about the ancestor who's the individual that transitioned from their embodied existence to their spiritual existence. We've talked about the ancestor who is you and I, how we are ancestors. We've talked about the ancestors of the waters and the elements, those spiritual ancestors. And now what we're discussing is an ancestor that is a community of ancestors that have come together to make its own ancestral spirit. Meaning, I'm calling in the ancestor of the HBCUs. Meaning, that is a whole amalgamation of ancestors, good and well ancestors that worked to bring forth HBCUs. And so that energy that they put towards bringing forth an HBCU wherever they were in the United States, I know we have global listeners, so wherever they were in the United States, they worked and this set worked and that set worked and everybody worked, and they all have this energetic imprint of go HBCU. That energy is the ancestor that we are uplifting today. That energy is the ancestor that we want to say, hey, thank you. I appreciate you for doing that thing. And that ancestor has stuff for us. That ancestor has, like I said, tenacity. That ancestor has vision and clarity. That ancestor has, I am growing the future to support the leading of the world. So, as we talk about some of the next things that I want to get into, let's remember that our ancestor from the HBCUs who decided education is a must, and we are going to do what we can to make sure that everybody has access to good education. That clarity, that tenacity, that fervor, that's what we're calling in. That knowing of what is needed and what we gonna do, that's what we calling in today. This is for you, ancestors, it's for you. This is for you. Over the past couple of episodes, we have addressed a great deal of stuff. We've talked about not having regrets. We've talked about the importance of doing you, being you, making it do what it do, boo boo. We've talked about letting go of the stuff that made us feel other than the divine beings we were or we are. I've also mentioned pieces around you being the divine being, the God. You are God. You are not separate from source. You are source. And because you are God, and because you are God, that you could let go of mantras and meditations and manifestation techniques and all these things, right? I've said so much over the course of these podcast episodes. And one of the things that I want to bring to light in this episode is that these things that I've said them in a very strong, definitive way. And I've done that because I know when we speak clearly, concisely, straight to the point, you grab it, it sticks, people hear it, we hear it, right? Now, I want you to also know that there is the other side of these absolute statements. Yes, we don't want to have regrets, but I get it when people do. I totally get it. Yes, once you get to the place of completely knowing that you are God, you can let go of mantras and meditations and manifestation techniques and candle work, all of that. Yeah, you could do that. I get that. And I totally understand the need for that process. You don't have to stop doing it. So I'm here today to basically remind you that however you decide to do life is right. It doesn't have to be Rob and Denise's way. It doesn't have to be your mama's way, your daddy's way, your sister's way, your cousin's way, your best friend way. It don't have to be nobody's way but yours, divine being. You can't get it wrong. You can decide to use this. You can decide to go there. You can decide to have this emotional reaction. You can decide to do whatever you want to decide to do. And ain't nobody, at least in these parts over here with Robert and Denise, ain't nobody gonna come for you. I'ma love you just the same. Because I love you. You are loved. You are me. I am you. Because we are infinite and infinite creators, that means there are infinite ways to experience life. There are infinite ways for you to choose how to be, and infinite ways and techniques to connect to the greater you. It is infinite. And I've heard so many spiritualists come through with very this is how it has to be, this is that. And I feel like many of them have forgotten that we as gods are infinite. And that means we can experience life in an infinite amount of ways. And what I am here to support you in doing is to remind you that you, as the God you are, can choose all of the many ways that you want to experience life. I'm just opening your eyes to some other variations. That's it. That's it. It's important for you, to do the things that brings your heart joy, to the things that bring you bliss. And for me, what I did this weekend to bring me bliss was to go out to Morgan State University, HBCU, homecoming weekend, and twerk it up, okay? And twerk it up. And I twerked it up to my single that is out now, wherever you get your music from. It is called For You. It's spelled the number 4 and the letter U together, by Robin Denise. It is the song for the podcast. And so I'm so excited that my first song is the song that is for the ancestors, which we know you are the ancestors. So it's really for you, which is why the song is called For You, because it is for you, you divine being who is also an ancestor. I am thoroughly excited that that song is out there, and I cannot wait to drop my EP, which I will let you know when that drop date is ready. Divine being, you can't get it wrong. However you want to experience this life, you can't get it wrong. So the sacred work for you and for me, for us, is to visualize what you want your life to be, where you want your life to go next. How do you see the end of this year ending for you? It's a part of that internal reflection. This is a part of that lock-in, the great lock-in that I have mentioned a couple episodes back. This is that moment to reflect and come to a place of like, this is what I envision for me as the God that I am. You have the power to do that. And there is, again, no right or wrong way to do it. When you listen to this podcast, take what you will, take what resonates, and leave the rest. And know that I love you and I got your back, boo. And so do your ancestors. I will see you next time. I love you, divine beings. Bye!
Conversations with the Ancestors is produced and edited by Robin Denise. Theme song For You, co-written and co-performed by Robin Denise. Join us in connecting to the Ancestors by rating, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to Conversations with the Ancestors on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can get deeper with your ancestors and support this work by joining the community at robindenise.com. There you'll find free resources for download and online courses to help you pull on your ancestral wisdom and the abundance they have for you. Once again, that's robindenise.com.